Good Sunday morning to my sports fans. How are you doing out there? I am your sports host, Kendrick, with TFG Sports Media and Kendrick Sports Hustle. That's SportZHustle. Good Sunday morning to you. I hope you enjoyed that extra hour of sleep. I have to be honest with you. I woke up like at 3:34 this morning and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I've been just up getting the show ready. I've been away for a couple of weeks. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. But we got some NFL we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the death of a legend, Bobby Knight, and some other hot sports topics. But before we jump into all that, make sure you come in, like the cast, like the segment. Make sure you share it to all your social media platforms. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channels. That's TFG Sports Media and Kendrick Sports Hustle. That's SportZHustle on YouTube. Make sure you like and follow TFG Sports Media on Facebook, as well as Kendrick Sports Hustle on Facebook, and subscribe to and follow me on Facebook, my personal Facebook page, Kendrick Roline Henderson. Follow me on Instagram, Kendrick1969, as well as on TikTok, Kendrick Henderson 51. So again, daylight saving time in. We got an extra hour of sleep, and we got a whole lot of football going on, and we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to bring in my main man. I'm going to bring him in. I was letting him try to finish watching the rest before halftime. My guy, KLTV sports director at the ABC affiliate in Tyler, Texas, Michael Coleman. How you doing, my brother, this Sunday morning? Oh, I can't hear you, Mike. I can't hear you.
Hear me now?
I can't.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, I can hear you now. There we go. Got you. Yes, sir.
Okay.
How you doing, brother?
Yeah. Well, since I've been doing this with you, I've learned how to walk and chew gum at the same time. So I was watching the way this game was going to end in the first half, 21-0.
Right.
Dolphins, they cannot get unleashed against the Chiefs right now in Frankfurt, Germany.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is I didn't realize this is the first regular season NFL game in Frankfurt, Germany, by the way, if you guys didn't know that. It's been a pretty entertaining first half, Mike. We're gonna jump into it. We're talking NFL right off the top anyway, but it's been a pretty interesting first half. What has been your take so far?
That they've contained Tyreek Hill because they know him for the most part. Being those guys on the Chiefs, right. They played with him. They practiced against him. So they know what his moves are. And I like the pass rush on Tua because, Tua, he releases that ball, probably one of the fastest trigger guys in the league, but they are getting to him. They're disrupting the passing routes for the receivers. As for the Chiefs, I think they're playing conservative and it's working for them. They're not trying to do anything crazy. They went deep for a ball once and came up short, but they haven't, compared to last week, 5 turnovers. So they've been playing cautious, conservative, and they're winning 21-0. And you always talk about how teams in the NFL or any sport play down to the competition. I think in this case, KC's playing up to the Miami Dolphins because they got Tua was good. We know what Tyreek Hill is about. Waddle on the other side, and they have a decent run game. So they're going to need more than just 21 points because I think they have the kind of offense the Dolphins do to be able to come from behind.
Yeah, and you went where I was going. Obviously, we got to talk about that dumpster fire that they put up against the Broncos last week. I got a feeling that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, those guys were a little bit ticked off after that performance they put on the field versus the Broncos. What would you say that, Mike?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But the thing is this: they've beat them since 2015, even before Patrick got there. I was there the last time the Broncos beat Kansas City. I was at that game.
Wow!
And that's 2015. Right. 2015 was the last time, and even with Alex Smith, and when they were winning AFC titles, they were able to beat the Denver Broncos because Denver, they don't have an identity. They haven't had an identity in so long, And
it's been a while. You're right.
It's been a while. I mean, even Peyton Manning was just a Band-Aid because you would have thought that John Elway Hall of Fame quarterback who was really good back in his day would know how to judge quarterbacks that aren't Hall of Fame bound, like a Peyton Manning. So you would have thought when Manning was on his roster, he would have been doing his homework about the future of the Broncos when it comes to that position. But I mean, he's out now, but he left them in a shambles. They were in better shape when he got there than they were when he left.
Yeah, I agree with that. And but let's talk about the Chiefs offensively. And I think you can probably see, I look at things from my eyes. I know you can read the stats, you can
Yeah.
pull up all the history, but the eye test, most of the time, the eyes don't lie to you. And I think offensively, they don't have a wide receiver that scares defense.
No, they don't. I mean,
That-
DeAndre Hopkins was on the market for a minute,
right.
and you would have thought something would have happened with D Hop, but it never transpired. They
Right.
brought back McCole Hardman from the Jets. I haven't heard that much more about him, and so,
Mhm.
like you said, their receiver play is still lacking compared to the opportunities they had, and we've already seen life without Kelsey. So
Right.
this is a situation where you need to plan for the next 2 years. How you going to
Mhm.
get that ball or get Mahomes some weapons? And today, in fact, Kelsey's hardly a factor today.
He
You
hasn't
know,
been. He hasn't been in the
no,
first half. I think he
no.
caught one. I think he caught one pass, I believe, in the
Yeah, I
first
think he
half.
did too, like for
Yeah.
4 yards. And
Yeah. Right.
I just think some of the play we've seen in the first half, like the strip fumble, the lateral to go for the touchdown, those
Right.
kind of
Right.
plays are going to keep KC above water until they get their receiving core together. But we're about the halfway mark of the season,
Yeah. Week 9.
and
Yeah. This
yeah,
is a halfway mark.
yeah, the
Yeah.
halfway mark of the season. I think they have a bye week after today. What they do with that bye week, who go out to the Swifty concert or something, I don't know, but they need to
I
they need
hope
to find
not.
somebody that can, look through the hey,
Right.
look through the fans of Taylor Swift, see if they got receivers and capability. You know,
Now we don't need no Swifties on the NFL football field. Please, Mike. Let's not get that started. If you just joined us again, the Chiefs and Dolphins are playing in Germany. It's 21-0 at halftime. Again, this is week 9 of the NFL season. Joining me is my brother Michael Coleman, sports director at KOTV at the ABC affiliate in Tyler, Texas. All right, Mike. So we definitely gonna keep our eye on this game. Let's talk about some of the other week 9. Let me say this: both of these teams are 6-2. I forgot. I wanted to ask you about this. This could be a preview of the AFC Championship game.
And it could be, and
We
I
could
think
be looking at that.
I think you're right, and I think also in the mix will be who usually Jacksonville. Jacksonville, they're getting stronger, and so they're
I'm just
quietly
not
winning.
sold. I'm not sold on them, Mike. I know they're
Not
6-2, but I'm not sold on this
Yeah,
team.
they're quietly
Yeah,
winning, and and
right,
KC already popped them in the mouth earlier this year.
right,
They
right.
win more games internationally when they overseas than they do when they're at
Did they do
home.
it on? They might need to move. Hey, the NFL talking about getting a franchise over there. They might need to move Jacksonville over there.
Move Jacksonville over there, yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
But no, I think that the usual suspects. There's
Right,
nobody that's going to be a surprising team in the AFC. I mean, there's not a Detroit in the AFC. Somebody
right,
that's been terrible for years.
right,
San Diego or the LA Chargers. They keep trying to say they that team, but
right,
I've never seen it in the last two since they've had Herbert. I know he got all these yards. I was like, well, he ain't done nothing with it.
right.
Or his
Yeah.
coaching staff have not done anything with it. So, I like to cool the jets of the Chargers fans.
Yeah, just speaking of the AFC, that's the division leaders right now. Again, the Dolphins lead the East with 6-2. The Ravens lead the North at 6-2. The Jags lead the South at 6-2, and the Chiefs lead the West at 6-2. So all the teams in first place in the AFC are 6-2 at this point. But so let's talk about some of the other key games, other games that's going to be happening today. We got some noon kickoffs. We got the Vikings at the Falcons. We got the Cardinals at the Browns. We got the Rams at the Packers. I got some information on that. Matthew Stafford is a game time decision. He may not play because of that thumb injury he suffered versus the Cowboys last week. We also got the Commanders at the Patriots, the Bears at the Saints, and the Seahawks at the Ravens, and the Buccaneers at the Texans. Mike, any of those games intrigue you at this point?
I think Seattle and Baltimore. I think that's a game where we're going to see what, no matter win or lose, they're going to be a factor in the playoffs. Either team will be. Baltimore's playing really well. I think Seattle might be surprising some people despite the resurgence of Geno Smith. But I think that game and the Cowboys and the Eagles game are for me the key marquee games of the day.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Cowboys and Eagles here in just a second, more in a second. For me, the noon kickoff games, obviously, if you don't know, I'm a Packer fan, by the way. And so I will be watching that. But I know we're not going anywhere. I know I know we're playing. I know as much as it pains me to say this, I know the Lions are the best team in the NFC North, unless they just really have some bad injuries. Most likely they're going to win the division. So I'm going to be watching that one. And I'm like you, Mike. The other one definitely at the noon game is definitely the Seahawks at the Ravens.
Oh, yeah.
Seahawks are now 5-3. They sitting atop the NFC West at this point.
Right.
Well, they right behind the Niners. I'm sorry, because the Niners are still
everybody's behind the Niners, but the Niners, they need to up their game. They lost 3 in a row.
Yeah, they lost 3 in a row. Yeah,
so they made a move. Chase Young. We'll see how that works out for them. I don't think Seattle made any moves. I think obviously Pete Carroll likes his roster and likes what they're about to do. And see, Pete Carroll is the kind of coach, because he's such a seasoned guy, collegiately, NFL-wise. This is not a sprint. We're not going to hit a panic button in week 8 or 9 and freak out. We got what we got. We just need to fine-tune what we have. And I think that's good about him. I think Andy Reid's the same way, but Andy hadn't had to fine-tune a whole lot considering what they've been able to do. But, when a team has been in question about their personnel, guys like Reid, guys like Carroll, and even Mike Tomlin, with lesser success, have been able to figure it out and not listen to all the noise and from the people, you need to do this, So I know there are folks who are upset the Cowboys didn't make a move. Like, where do you want them to make a move? Now, I would have liked to have seen Derrick Henry with them. That was kind of the talk, on the fringe.
Yeah, that was a rumor for weeks. That was
the talk. Yeah. And although and I like the running back. What's his name? It escapes me right now. Tony Pollard. I like him. I like him, but he ain't really like pizzazzed me. But he ain't got to. I guess. Yeah, I guess he don't have to. But. You think of a running back, you're thinking of a running back. You're not thinking of a Darrell Johnston who gets 3 yards every other carry that he has. So, but Pollard's playing really very well. He's just not that. He hasn't had an explosive play, I don't think, compared to what he had. Compared to what he's had when he's come off the bench. And like I've said, they're game planning for him. They know he's going to be there to start the game, and there's going to be ways to resist him. From off tackle and breaking loose for those big runs he's had in the past. So steady is fine until you get hit in the mouth and you have to come from behind.
Well, since we didn't went there, Mike, let's go ahead and talk about that's the Fox game of the week. Let's talk about the Cowboys at the Eagles. The Eagles lead the division at 7-1. The Cowboys are right behind them, I believe, at 5-2. Your thoughts on, man? This is a big game. Who needs this game more, the Eagles or the Cowboys, in your opinion?
Cowboys need it more. Cowboys need it more because we already know what the Eagles can do because they did it last year.
Yeah.
You see, and that beat down they put on the Rams, that's good. And like I said, to someone says, that was a good win, but what you worry about with the Cowboys is how are they going to play the following week? And so, for instance, Arizona Cardinals still had that one win. And who is it against? The Cowboys. The Cowboys, and I just think, and it's on Dak. It's always going to be on Dak. That's just the way of life. When you're the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, that's just the way it is.
Staubach, Tupac, Tupac, all eyes on you. Yeah.
All eyes on you. Staubach went through it. Danny White went through it. That's just the nature of the beast of that position with that franchise. And so, I expect a good game, but I expect the Cowboys to come out on top on this one, on the road. I'm going to give them – I got faith in them, and let's see how it turns out.
Well, honestly, when you talk about Dak, since he's been the starter since what 2016, 17, I believe 17, he has a winning record versus the Eagles.
I think he's
He
like
has
6-1 or something like
yes,
that.
he hasn't lost many games to the Eagles. Now the thing with Dak is he hasn't won many games that meant something either.
Right.
That's the biggest issue with Dak. He can't seem to win the big one. So the Cowboys go in there, like you say, riding high off of that dismantling of the Rams. The Eagles have had some scares. They coming off that scare because of Commanders. The Commanders really should have won that game. That
Yeah,
was back and forth.
they should have.
But the Commanders always play the Eagles tough.
Yeah,
So
well,
Cowboys go into there.
it's a divisional rival, and that's what it's going to be. And what we've seen the Eagles do, we saw them do it last year. We saw them do it this year. They know how to come from behind.
Right.
They know how to just press on. Now, I think it was the Colts last year that beat them.
Yeah, it was the Colts.
Right? Okay, that woke them up. Mm-hmm. That woke them up. And sometimes you need a wake up call. The Chiefs got their wake up call.
They got their wake up call too. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I don't know.
Thought that.
Yeah. And the Cowboys' wake up call was the Cardinals. Back then. And so far they've lived up to it. And so now this is the game you play for. You take them one at a time, which is coach speak. But now when it's time to play against the team in your division, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
And let's face it, you got a hostile crowd always in Philadelphia.
Oh, you know they're gonna be ready for the Cowboys. Speaking of NFC, this division leaders again. The Eagles lead the East at 7-1. The Lions lead the North at 6-2. The Falcons lead the South at 4-4. That division is wide open in my opinion. And the West, the 49ers lead it at 5-3, with the Seahawks right behind them at, I believe, 5-3 as well. So again, that's the big game of the week. The Cowboys at the Eagles. I'm going with the Cowboys by a field goal in this. I think they're going to win this game. I think it's going to be one of those, like you say, Mike, a rival game. They always don't disappoint. I think it's going to be close, and I think the Cowboys will pull it out with 3 points. The other afternoon games we got in the 3 o'clock window, if you're interested in looking at them, the Colts at the Panthers, that's 3:05. And then we got I believe the Raiders host somebody. You can see it in the
text. Oh, the New York Giants.
The Giants. But speaking of the Raiders, that dumpster fire. If you missed it, they fired Josh McDaniels and their GM Dave Ziegler earlier in the week, as well as their offensive coordinator, I believe Mike Lombardi. I read an article on ESPN.com this morning, and that will cost Mark Davis, firing them, those 3 plus some other coaches, is going to cost them $85 million. Me personally, I thought Josh McDaniels shouldn't have never got that job. I think he's not a coach. He's not a head coach at the NFL level. He's an offensive coordinator, and that's all he's going to be, in my opinion. Mike, are you shocked that the Raiders held on to him this long?
I really am. And what makes it even more intriguing, I got to let my dog Buster in. He's ringing the doorbell. What makes it even more intriguing is that Antonio Pierce played on the Super Bowl teams of the Giants, and that's who he gets to open up against as an interim head coach. And I was reading what some of the players are saying about the change. They love it. Usually you don't hear players say, "Oh, thank God he's gone," but it's not the case with the Raiders. Hunter Renfrow just waylaid McDaniels. I mean, and like you said, how many chances is he gonna get? He gets them. Eric Bieniemy can't get a chance. This guy, he was Denver. Now with the Raiders, he'll get another opportunity. He'll get another opportunity, man. That's just the way it goes.
He was 3-5 with the Raiders. His 2 seasons there, he was 9-16 without a playoff appearance. In his 2 seasons with the Broncos, he was 11-17 in 09 and 10. And he's the first head coach that wasn't an interim, to be released before the end of the season by 2 different franchises. So that's a heck of a.
And he'll land back with Belichick, whether Belichick is in New England or the Commanders. You've heard that talk, I'm sure.
Right. You're right. Now, one more thing before we get out of the NFL and move to the NBA. The Commanders, the trade deadline was Halloween, and we were just seeing what was going to happen. The Commanders pretty much said that they were going to trade Chase Young and Montez Sweat. They
Yeah.
did both. They traded Sweat to the Chicago Bears, who in turn signed a 4-year extension, I think worth $98 million. 64 of that is going to be guaranteed. They also traded a number 2 pick from the 2020 draft, Chase Young, to the 49ers. Before they decided that because they weren't going to pick up his 5th-year option and he was going to be a free agent after this season. So the Commanders did that, and that was pretty much all the big names. My Packers traded a cornerback with Saul Douglas to the Bills, I believe, and that was really all the big trade things that happened in the NFL. The NFL, normally the trade deadline is pretty quiet, but the last couple of years it's been kind of a little bit more noise.
Yeah, it's like a mid-season draft is what it is sometimes.
Right.
You think about it, and teams, because for instance, I know the Eagles made a move. They brought a defensive back in. Teams that want to win now and are in position to win now, those are the teams that make those kind of moves. Because they figure we got something missing. If that something is out there, let's go get them. And I think that's a wise move for those that think they need to make a change.
Yeah. So that's our NFL rundown, Mike. Let's jump to the NBA with the big news that happened on Halloween night too. Is this a trick or is this a treat for the Clippers of the 76ers? If y'all don't know, James Harden finally got his wish. He pushed his way. He sucked his way. He strip clubbed his way out of Philly to LA. The 10-time All-Star will be joining Paul George and Kawhi Leonard to make their new big 3. Mike, what's your thoughts on Harden pushing his way out of the 3rd team in his career?
He's good at that. He's good at making moves that precipitates the management going, what? He don't like us? He don't like us? He didn't like where he was at last time. We thought we were giving him love. So I don't know what to think about this guy. He's a talented guy. I don't know if he had all that kind of noise leaving Oklahoma City. I don't recall, but even Houston,
it wasn't like that.
Wasn't like that. And he's figured out a way to force a trade. He's making a great living at it, obviously. But we'll see. I mean, based off his recent history, I don't know how he can fit, because just when he begins to fit, he's pouting about something.
Mm-hmm.
He's upset. Like somebody cut his beard off or something. I don't know what the deal is with this guy. You're like, why are you mad, man? You still got your beard. But let's see. Let's see how it works out. He's reunited with Westbrook.
Right.
I mean, on paper, it looks pretty good. I mean, it's like in hockey. You can have a second line come off the bench with these guys, but he's gonna be mad about something in time. Let's just see what it is. I don't put out a faith in that move, not because he can't play, but because of his temperamental, pouty kind of way that he is. I mean, I wonder what kind of 13-year-old kid he was. I mean, he probably got sent to bed every night without eating dinner because he didn't want to eat the Brussels sprouts.
Well, he's a California kid. He's from Southern California, so he's back in his home state. But I'm like you. I think he's a talented cat, but he's the one type of dude that I would only want on my team if I'm playing pickup basketball. If I'm trying to win a championship, I don't want that, man, because chemistry to win championships, you can have the most talented roster in the world and be the most talented, but if the chemistry is off, you ain't going nowhere. I don't care how much talent you got.
That's true.
That's in any team sport, and really more specifically in basketball, because you only have 15 men, and
you only have 15.
Then it's a smaller roster, and then injuries happen. It's just going to be interesting to see how head coach Tyronn Lue manages this, because we all know that Kawhi Leonard's probably going to be hurt. He's going to probably have to sit down for some games. We probably know Paul George is going to be hurt too. He's going to probably have to sit down some games. So Tyronn Lue is going to have to figure out how to manage this thing. And now with this new load management rule that the NBA got, you can't be sitting guys for just to be sitting. You know what I'm saying? So Tyronn Lue, hey man, you got the 3-headed monster, but I think this monster, man, I don't know, man. I still don't see them as the favorite in the West, in my opinion.
No, they're not the favorite. Now I will give Lue this kind of credit. He knows how to manage, and because he has personalities, and I'll give him that kind of credit. But even he's going to have a line that has to be drawn if things get out of control.
Yeah, right. So again, if you missed it, James Harden, he's leaving Philly. He's going to LA. Strip clubs are on alert now because they know he's gonna be in there. He gonna
Yeah,
be in there hot and heavy.
they creating the James Harden special, you know.
Right. They already done made up VIP cards for James Harden because he gonna be in the spot. So again, like I say, the Clippers. I think they've improved, but they gave up a lot too. If you see in the scroll,
yeah, they did.
They gave up a lot, and I think Philly did. I mean, Daryl Morey. You can say what you want about him. He didn't give him away for no magic beans. That's for sure. He made sure that he was getting something in return.
Yeah, he was pretty adamant about what he wanted in return, like he did when he was at Houston. You know, right. So I'm going to just give him away, and then he ends up with Philly. So yeah, I think Embiid is pleased at that move. I think he's glad he's gone. I think,
but he said some good things about Harden. He said some good things about Harden.
Oh yeah,
I think he's glad he's gone too.
No, yeah, because Embiid has been more. He's probably been the previous 2 most consistent years for his career, and I think he's serious about trying to win. And he's probably had an eye roll or 2 at Harden, you know, and now he doesn't have to deal with that. And he's probably tired of answering questions about him too.
Right, exactly. So again, Harden in LA, we'll see how that goes with the in-season tournament. That's something new. If y'all missed that, I did some on that on TFG Sports Media. That's something new the NBA is doing this season. Make sure you watch this later. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channels, and make sure you share this to your social media platforms. We're gonna stick to basketball, Mike, and then we had a legend, man. This came down on was this Wednesday or Thursday? I cannot remember. But
Wednesday.
I can't remember what it was Wednesday. I thought it was Wednesday. Legendary head coach Robert Montgomery Knight, Bobby Knight, passed away October 25th at his home in Bloomington, Indiana, at the age of 83. Mike, he was somewhat the face of college basketball, man. Be honest with you, from the mid 70s. Probably up until the mid 80s when you really think about it.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. And for all his warts and stuff, he won. I mean, he couldn't do that stuff today, obviously. But this guy here would get the most out of his players. And if you got recruited by Bob Knight and you went there, you knew what you were getting. There was no reason for you to be surprised about his volatility and his hardcore disciplined way of doing things. And, it worked for back then. It probably doesn't work for today. But Bob Knight, I don't know if it was you or Steve Japp. We interviewed him. He was in town. He just took the job at Texas Tech.
Oh, that must have been Steve. That wasn't me. I would have remembered that. Yeah,
okay.
I would have remembered that. No.
I said something. I'm like, okay, what do I ask this guy? And
right.
I said something like, so what's it like to get back on your feet? I never left my feet.
I can hear.
What do you mean? I never left my feet. Right. Well, a new beginning, and now I'm like, okay, have a B and C ready. Well, a new beginning, West Texas, Lubbock, and he was cool with that question and the way I rephrased it and all that, and he was fine. But as a broadcaster, he could be an intimidating guy because you don't know what he's going to say to you. At all.
Right.
I mean, if you were his age,
he was kind of like Bill him and Bill Parcells.
Yeah.
But he was a little more Parcells. He wasn't as I don't think as unfriendly as
he was
Bob
Parcells has sarcasm.
That's right.
If you remember a former colleague of ours asking
I know about the cafeteria food.
Right. Yes, and he's like, he looks over to Rich, what's his name? The guy's not there anymore. He goes like, is he kidding me?
Yeah, he had fun with it. And you know what?
Fun with it.
That moment would have been, if that would have happened during the social media where we are now, that would have been a viral moment because that would have been all over the place.
Yeah. We've had a few viral moments before the word viral came out on a situation like that with him.
Oh yeah, we did, didn't we? For sure. but yeah, Bobby Knight, man. At the age of 83, I think he was suffering from Alzheimer's, if I read correctly.
Wow.
And You think about all the players that he coached at Indiana, from Isaiah Thomas to Quinn Buckner to Cabot Chaney. It's so many. Really, a lot of his players really didn't become that next level superstar. It really
No,
was just Isaiah. It was just Isaiah
right
when you
now that
think
you
about it.
mentioned it, it's a short list, man. It's
It's
a
a,
very
it,
short
it,
list.
it's a short list. So, but he was a system. He was a system guy. You came there, you were going to play defense. Your name wasn't going to be on your back of your jersey. He didn't believe in letting you wear your name on your back and all that. And he was a disciplinarian. I always remember Isaiah Thomas tells the story about when Bob Knight came and visited to recruit him in Chicago, and his mom, Mary Thomas. If you haven't watched it, check out the Mary Thomas story. It's pretty good. They made that years ago. It's about
I remember that.
Isaiah.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Isaiah was like, he wasn't feeling Bob Knight, and he really didn't want to go to Indiana. But
Really?
his mom was like, yeah, I'm sending him to Indiana. So that's how Isaiah ended up going to Indiana. It was really his mom made him go to Indiana. It really wasn't Isaiah. So
It's always the moms, man.
right, moms got that type of influence, and they know. So
Yeah.
the thing is, Bob Knight, his record speaks for itself. You can see it scrolling there. But
Yep.
the one relationship that I wondered, did they ever mend their fences, was him and Coach K. I don't know if you remember, a couple of years ago, about 2-3 years ago, they had a disagreement and they weren't speaking. And
Well, he played for
Bob Knight coached him at Army.
Yeah, that's right. He played for Coach Knight, and you like to hope that they settled their differences before what happened, because it's always inevitable. That's why you always have to, if you got a beef or axe to ungrind with somebody,
Right.
just do it. Just do it, because that's how he's a perfect example of how short life really is. And this big old galactic stuff that we're dealing with, and and I bet you, I bet you, I haven't seen any comments from Knight yet, but I'm pretty sure they won't be anything negative or outside.
Oh, you talking about Coach? You mean from Coach K?
For Coach K? Yeah.
Actually, I did see a small little statement he made there. And he did, and he obviously he spoke glaringly about his former coach and mentor.
Sure.
So
I mean,
I'm
think about
assuming yeah.
Well, Bobby Knight had a Woody Hayes kind of thing going for them, and they both had Ohio State connections. Woody Hayes was just below Woody Hayes in terms of temperament.
I agree with that. That's a very good. Yeah, they definitely were similar. So again, the college basketball world is still mourning the loss of Bob Knight at the age of 83. He coached 29 seasons at Indiana, where he won like 11 Big Ten titles. He won 660 of his 905.
And we still haven't had an undefeated college team since him.
Still have an undefeated college season, right? And probably won't have one.
It won't.
That won't ever happen.
Nope.
He won 3 national titles in 76, in 81, and in 87. So again, Bob Knight, the General, as they call him, they nickname him the General, passed away at the age of 83. So we're going to get down to our last segment, Mike, so we can get you back to this football game. We got to talk about, those Texas Rangers. Yes, sir. If you guys if you missed it, I know everybody ain't missed it. But the Texas Rangers, they finally pulled it off. They won their first World Series in the franchise 63-year team history. And if anybody said that they picked the Texas Rangers the World Series, I know you are lying. None of us picked the Rangers to make it this far this season. And don't even tell me that. Go ahead, Mike.
And you did say, in case you missed it, a lot of folks did miss it. I mean, it was the lowest watched World Series in history.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not shocked. Yeah.
No, exactly. First of all, it's baseball, and it's baseball in Texas. Nobody connects those two words together. But a good job for them. And I mean, what I like about it too, from a personal standpoint, there's a Kansas City Royals connection to that Rangers team. Chris Johnson, who is the general manager, was on the pitching staff when I covered him with the Royals when they went to the World Series in 14 and 15 when I was there. And the general manager, Dayton Moore, is a special. Chris brought him on board. He's a special consultant to the team. And then Bruce Bochy, the manager,
Right,
was the
right.
manager of the Giants when the Giants beat the Royals in 2014 in the World Series. So
Right.
it's that little circular, rectangular, or
Okay.
triangular, connection.
You always got to connect. But you meant Chris Young, right? Not Chris Johnson, right?
Yeah, Chris Young, Chris Young,
Okay.
Chris Young.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
Chris
all
Young.
hey, if y'all don't know, again, this is my guy, Michael Coleman, sports director at KLTV, ABC affiliate in Tyler, Texas. He gonna have some connections, you guys. He gonna find some sort of connect. I know. Wow, that's crazy. So yeah, man. Shout out to the Rangers, man. I've been reading some of the, on social media, some of the sports, these sports groups. A lot of some of these Astro fans was being a little salty because they were rooting for the Diamondbacks, and I get that. I could
Yeah,
see that, but I'm like, man, the Rangers did. Hey, they came in y'all house and beat y'all. So I mean, don't be a
beat him,
sore loser. You know what I'm
beat him.
saying?
Well,
Yeah, they did it.
and one of the star pitchers, Nathan Evaldi, he talks about, hey, I'm from Houston. I
Oh,
remember the
okay.
Killer Bees. My dad would take me to the Astros as a little boy. He says, but I was an Astros fan, but hey, I love being a part of the Rangers organization. And he might be an Astro down the road one day. That's the way players are. They somewhere for a while and they go someplace else. But no,
Right.
it's a good win for them. And I mean, at least they can say they've been to the World Series, though they didn't win it back on 2011, I guess it was. And then
2010 and 2011.
okay,
Yeah.
back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got to the World Series and won. Cowboys got to be inspired, man. They got to
Right.
be inspired. They got to come up and do something.
Right. Well, now the Dallas area now, all four of their major professional franchises have won a championship, even though it's been
That
over
includes
20.
that, and that includes that XFL team or whatever
Oh
extra
yeah,
team.
that's right. The,
That
the, the
includes.
XFL team. I forget what the Arlington Renegades, isn't it? Isn't it called the
Yeah, yeah,
Arlington
yeah,
Renegades? That's right. I forgot
yeah.
about that. So look at DF Dub, they doing some big things up there. Now I did see some shade about the parade. I've been seeing people saying the parade was not that great. Wasn't a lot of people. Did you? I know you covered. You probably got some
Well, we sent a crew
video.
there.
What
We
what
sent a
was your
crew there.
thoughts on the parade?
Well, just
Oh,
when I
okay,
saw,
okay. What?
they had like 750,000 people.
Okay, so
Uh,
it was a lot of people. See, some people are saying it wasn't on
well, I think I
social
saw
media.
somebody from Houston saying, "Oh, I would have thought it'd been a million." Hey, it was 750,000. And
Right,
when it's that many people, you can't tell it's not a million.
right,
When I was in Kansas City and covered the Royals parade, I mean, people's cars, because obviously ran out of parking and people try to get there early. People had cars parked on the shoulder of the interstate on I-70 and 35. Cars, and it looked like it was like apocalypse, because you had cars in the grass. It's like, where's everybody? Type of thing.
right,
They're
right.
all at the parade, and so I think they had like 500,000 at that, and
Right.
it was cool. It was cool. The players, it's like that for the
Mm,
Royals. It's their second. It was their second World Series championship because they won with Willie Wilson and Frank White back in the day, back in the '80s. But no, they turned out. And so, but like I said in my show, even for those who didn't watch, oh well,
right. I
that's
wait.
okay. You didn't have to watch. And the ones who
Right.
didn't watch are the LAs, the
The New York,
Philadelphias, the New
the
Yorks, the
Philadelphia's, New
Bostons.
York's.
Yeah, and
Right,
you had Atlanta and you had LA get 100 wins, they couldn't reach the finals. So hey, that's not on the teams that remained.
right.
Tell your team you win 100 games because they want the talk of trying to do away with the playoffs. No, don't do it with the playoffs. Because they're talking about, well, it kind of takes away from the teams that have 100, then they don't get in. Well, you win 100, they should win their games. That's
Right,
it's
right.
just sour grapes to me.
Yeah, yeah. It's like people. It's kind of like people in general gonna complain about something. Definitely, if it's not
Yeah,
in
man.
in their favor, they're gonna
Yep,
complain about something.
yep.
So again, shout out to the Rangers. Congratulations on that big win. We got one more thing, and then might get your final thoughts. Let's talk about. I had talked about Coach Prime in Colorado in a minute because I think it's been overdone and it's still
Oh yeah,
overdone.
yeah,
So, but this is where we are. Colorado, they've lost 5 or 6 games. They lost
yeah,
last night to Oregon State,
yeah,
26-19.
yeah.
Coach Prime, he changed out offensive coordinators. Sean Lewis is still co-offensive coordinators, but he went with Pat Shermer. And they must win 2 of the last 3, their final 3 games to become bowl eligible. They at home against Arizona. Then they on the road at Washington State at Utah. Mike, so your thoughts on Colorado at this point in Coach Prime? You know, what's happening?
It's the same. It's the same. It's just not as much of a fanfare as it was the first 3 weeks. I mean, he excited people. Touchdown, Miami. He excited people, and nobody thought they would win a game. All right, because A, who was coaching it? B, under the circumstances that they brought the team together, and they just hell for the Pac-10, Pac-12 to be on this last leg. They had what 4 or 5 teams ranked in the top 25.
Yeah,
I mean that's really saying something. So that the conference was tougher than people gave it credit for, and Dion has still done a tremendous thing to do this in his first year with the personnel that he brought in. I mean, he was able to use the transfer portal, the NIL, all that. Now he sees. Now he knows what he's missing. See, when he came in, it was what it was.
Right.
Offensive lineman. You need to stack up on offensive linemen, man.
Yes. And defensive linemen too.
And defensive linemen. Big uglies, as John Madden called them. Big uglies. You got to stack up on them. You got the skill players. You know, Shadura, he'll be back next year. And I'm pretty sure the transfer portal, he'll find some people that can come in and be on both that offensive line and that defensive line. So now he goes in with a blueprint of what has to happen. He came straight from an HBCU school straight to Colorado. Yeah. You know, and the best thing about all of this is they're not going to touch him. They're going to let him keep doing the things the way he wants to do, the way he wants to do them. Right. You know, I think that, I mean, I think that's a credit to the administration of the Buffalo's athletic department. Nah, he's going to be fine. We ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, you know, and I want to remind people this program was not even talked about in the last time I talked about Colorado was, I think, when they played in the Big 12 championship against Texas. I think Chris Sims was the quarterback for Texas at that time, and Colorado beat them. That's the last time that I can recall that I even paid attention to Colorado. This team, this university has only won one game last year. So I think people are getting lost in the sauce. You got people being critical of Prime. I get it. Some people ain't gonna like him. That's okay. But and some people saying that all he talks about is his sons. You ask the other football. I guarantee you the other players on the team are probably feeling some type of way. Why do people make these statements? How do you know that? You're not in the locker room. You don't know what those young men love Coach Prime. I've seen some videos, and just because you see what he posts on his social media, that's not all he's doing. That's not all that those young men are doing or those coaches doing. So I think people need to chill out and look again. They've won four games?
I think they're 4 and 5, I think.
Yeah, they only won one game last season. So in my opinion, I think it has been a success. I would love to see them get in a bowl game. They got they work cut out for them, you know, for the next 3 games. So we'll see. And I think Coach Prime is going to have Colorado doing their thing in the Big 12 next season. So, again, that's my thoughts on Coach Prime and Colorado.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So let's get your final thoughts so we can let you get out of here and watch the rest of this game. What's your final thoughts?
Well, I think that I really think in the NFL, it's more wide open than as more than any other time for the last 5 years, say, you know. KC don't have a lock on it. I don't think the Eagles have a lock on it, although those are 2 of my Super Bowl contenders or my picks to go to the Super Bowl. Right. But you got Baltimore laying and waiting in the wings, and hey, Detroit. I ain't gonna lie, Detroit might
sneak up on something. Well,
they might trip and sneak in at the NFC Championship. So I like the wide open race it is now for the NFL, which is great for the game. It's probably grown more in the last 5 years. Now, you know what? I think Mahomes has helped grow this game, and these other young quarterbacks after him have grown this game because people like seeing quarterbacks throw that ball and exciting touchdowns, you know. And I feel sorry for the defense because the rules all favor the offense.
The offense. And it
favors the offense all the time. Yeah, man. But so, no, I think it's a wide open race, and I think we're going to have an exciting down the stretch way of the NFL with all these teams right now.
I'm sorry, Mike. You know I always be thinking about stuff. Before y'all let you go, for real, I'm
That's
gonna let
fine.
you
No,
go.
we good, man. We good.
You got to tell me. High school football finished up the regular season this past Friday. What is the playoffs looking like? I know you probably don't have it. Just kind of
No,
off
just off the top of
top
my
of your
head,
head.
I
Just
know,
kind
like,
of
for
tell me.
instance,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hometown Legacy's going to the playoffs, in 6A,
Okay,
but they got to be 48-0. And I'm like, well, you okay? This
okay.
is going to be just a free trip to the Metroplex on that night.
Right.
Uh, I think Kilgore.
They
Kilgore is
they,
going to
they
be a
beat
beat.
Chapel Hill, didn't they? Didn't
They
they
beat a
beat?
good chat, like 38-16 or something like that.
Okay,
And it was
okay.
12-5, something crazy score like that for a while. And then you've got, again, got Longview.
Right, right.
Longview played because they lost in the state championship last year,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember talking to coach back in August and said, okay, now you got to start all over again,
Mm-hmm.
to get to where you were, and they've done it. I mean, they lost that first game, to I think McKinney High
Yeah,
by
McKinney
3.
North, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
McKinney
one of the
North, I
McKinney
believe.
schools,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
they won like 8 in a row since, and they're unbeaten
yeah.
champions, and so they're open. I can't. I think they play Frisco Reedy next week, but maybe
Okay,
not. But
okay,
um,
okay.
but they got the first. They're at home. They don't
Okay.
get beat at home. They just don't get
Right.
beat at home.
Right.
And
Right.
so Gilmer, they came. They lost the first 2 games, but they lost to Kilgore and Carthage. Coach.
And those are not bad losses at all.
No, they're not. And Coach Metzel tweaked them a little bit, so they're in. Um, Marshall is in.
Okay.
The tiny, the mighty, the smaller schools, your Timpsons, your Tinnehas, your
Right.
Dangerfields, they all
You,
going to be dangerous. We'll probably have like I'm.
I ain't got to ask about Carthage. I already know Carthage is.
Oh
I
yeah,
ain't
yeah.
got to
You
ask about.
got to worry about Carthage at all. But it all
Right.
starts.
Right.
It all starts this coming Thursday. There's a 2A game
Okay.
at Rose Stadium that I'll be at. So Thursday and Friday we have a slew of
Okay.
games going on, and I think we're going to
Okay.
get at least. I think we'll have at least 3 go to the state finals. I think we'll get at least 1 state championship
Okay.
winner.
Hey, Miss Tori. Thanks for joining us. I'm doing okay, Miss Tori. I'm here with the KLTV sports director, my brother from another mother, Michael Coleman, at the ABC affiliate in Tyler, Texas. So we're just talking about high school matchups. High school playoff starts next week. Again, if you want to get all the latest games, updates, make sure if you haven't already, go to your app store, download that app, KLTV, KTRE, the red zone. I can't say it like Mike, but Mike has
You
it. He
got it.
got the thing going. Make sure you check him out on KLTV.com as well, and offer all your high school updates. Mike, man, I want to appreciate you joining me, brother. I'm gonna
Always,
let you get
man.
out of
Always.
here, and we'll be talking soon,
All
bro.
right.
Okay, all right. Peace out. All right, again, that was my guy, Michael Coleman, sports director, KLTV, here at the ABC affiliate in Tyler, Texas. I want to thank him for joining me on today. Again, guys, I'm about to get out of here, but make sure you rewind, watch this broadcast. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channels. That's TFG Sports Media and Kendrick Sports Hustle. That's SportZ, HUSTTLE on YouTube. We got it rocking and rolling, man. We do it. We got some action on these YouTube channels. We're getting close to monetization. So hopefully you guys will make sure you go check out some of the stories that I upload over there, and subscribe to the channel, share to your social media platforms, and also follow me on Facebook. Follow me. That is Kendrick Roline Henderson, my Facebook page. I'm at 3,000 followers. Appreciate all those that are following me. Make sure you follow me there. Like and all that. Watch that. Make sure you like and follow TFG Sports Media and Kendrick Sports Hustle as well on Facebook as well. Make sure you check me out there. Follow me on TikTok. That's Kendrick Henderson 51, as well as Instagram. Follow me there. Kendrick 1969. I'm posting stuff all over the place, so you can follow me and enjoy some of these good sports stories that I'm getting. So I want to say one thing before I get out of here. I hadn't been on for a couple of weeks because of life, some life, and man, some life happens. Uh, uh, on October 27th is the anniversary of the death of my mother from stage 3 metastatic breast cancer. I'm sorry, stage 4. She passed away in 2005 at the age of 53. So I've been in a reflective mood the last couple of 10 days because not only that's the anniversary of my mother's passing, I got the news that my pops, Willie James Reed, he was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer and liver failure. I got that news around October 19th. And then my father, my pops passed. He transitioned on October 25th of 2023. So the month of October now is definitely my new normal, and it's something that's going to be difficult for me to to get through. Again, life has been life, and so now my pops, he transitioned 2 days before the anniversary date of my mother's transition. So October is going to be a very difficult month for me. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I hadn't been on. But I needed to come on today, man, just to get back in the groove, And I dedicate this show. I dedicate whatever I do from here on out. And again, I would say this about relationships. My pops and I really didn't have one for the first 40 years, 45 years of my life. I'm 54 years old. And I decided I had to heal myself and I had to forgive. And I'm not going to go into the whole story. If you want to watch it, you can go watch a little bit about what I said, what my pops and I, what our relationship was like on my Facebook profile, Kendrick Anderson. And it's titled The Month of October, the month that I lost my mother and my father. So we began to heal, man. So we didn't have the closest relationship. Obviously, we didn't speak and talk all the time, but that was my pops. And for him to now be gone at the age of 75, my mother's gone, it's definitely put me in a reflective mood. So I want to say all that to say this. If you have some of those relationships out there that need to be mended, life is short because once you get that dash between the date of your birth and the date of your transition, there's nothing you can do about it after that. So if there's something out there you need to heal, I would highly suggest you do that, whatever relationship that may be. So again, I dedicate this show and my shows going forward to my mother, the late Colonel Louise Anderson, again, who passed away at the age of 53 from stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. Dedicate this show also to my pops. Our relationship was different, but that was still my pops, who passed away October the 25th, 2023 at the age of 75 from stage 3 colon cancer and liver failure. And I also dedicate this in the memory of my maternal grandfather, the late Amos Henderson Sr., who was the first Black elected county commissioner in the state of Texas, who has been gone since 1996. So I dedicate this. I'm going to be doing all this, man, for my ancestors, and I hope I make them proud. So again, you've been watching the TFG Sports Media Show. I am your sports guy, Kendrick. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe to the channels. And until next Sunday, we will see you on the other side and on the next report. I am out. Peace.